You might think that there are just some things that you are not capable of forgiving someone for. When someone does us wrong, does us dirty, whether that be they cheated on us in a relationship, they abused us physically or emotionally, they lied to us or deceived us in some way, they caused us pain or harm, they took something important away from us, they broke our trust. It can feel like there's no way you could ever forgive that person. I am here to tell you that you can. You can forgive, no matter what the infraction, no matter how terrible or nasty or perhaps even abusive, you are capable of forgiveness. If you struggle with forgiveness, if you struggle with pent-up anger and resentment over things people have done to you in the past, it's probably because you believe certain lies that society tells us about forgiveness. My name is Ramsey Dean. I'm a licensed therapist and social worker, and in today's video, we will discuss 4 lies that are holding you back from forgiveness. Let's dive in. Lie number 1, forgiveness is condoning, approving of, or excusing what happened. This is the number 1 thing that I see holding people back from forgiveness. People tell me that they don't want to forgive because they don't want to send a message that what the other person did is acceptable. And I hear that. That's a valid concern, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But forgiveness is not about condoning bad behavior. If I had to define forgiveness in simple terms, it would be letting go of anger, resentment, and hostility, even though you are justified in having those feelings. To forgive is to let go so that we can have internal peace, not because we are condoning bad behavior. One of my favorite types of therapy, dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, teaches us about the concept of dialectics, which just means that 2 opposite things can be true at the same time. When someone causes us harm, it is second nature to fall into black and white thinking. We might think that the person's behavior is inexcusable and that only a bad person would behave in such a way. Dialectics encourages us to embrace both acceptance and change. So I can accept my reality, I accept that you have caused me harm, and I cannot change the past, but I can also simultaneously disapprove of your behavior. Forgiveness also does not replace accountability. For example, if someone steals from you, you may decide to press charges, and that person may suffer legal consequences. You can still forgive them and let go of any ill will you have for that person, while also holding them accountable for their behavior. You may also make the decision to not have that person be a part of your life anymore. That does not mean you can't also forgive them. And this leads me into lie number 2. Forgiveness is an agreement to continue a relationship as it was. The act of forgiveness is separate from how you choose to move forward with that individual. You always have the choice to either resume, modify, or terminate the relationship when someone causes you harm. That decision-making around if and how to move forward with that person is separate from the process of forgiveness. You can forgive someone and also simultaneously terminate the relationship. One example of this that I've seen quite a bit both in my career but also in my personal life is divorced parents. In an ideal world, divorced parents would forgive. They will let go of their anger and resentment for the other person so that they can co-parent their children effectively. But that doesn't mean they choose to stay married. Sometimes the damage to the relationship is just too severe. The infraction is too much, and we need to terminate the relationship and get some physical separation in order to start letting go of our anger. When someone does us wrong, we also have the option to modify the relationship, meaning I'll still maintain a connection with you, I'm not gonna cut you off, but there's gonna be some different boundaries, some different dynamics, some different rules. The way I behave and move in the relationship is gonna look different. You can do that. You can change the rules in your relationships and simultaneously forgive. The expression forgive and forget, I personally believe is toxic. Sometimes you can forgive and forget, sure, right? If someone that you love does something relatively minor to you, they can apologize and we can keep it moving. This is a part of the healthy give and take in relationships. No one is perfect, and sometimes people are going to mess up. That is a part of life. But to expect that you can always forgive and move on like nothing happened, no matter what the infraction, is not realistic and not a fair expectation for you to put on yourself. You deserve to let go of negative emotions that do not serve you, but also do what you need to do to protect yourself and keep yourself emotionally safe in your relationships. Lie number 3. You should always forgive. Now, this one might be a bit of a surprise. Here I am making a video where I'm trying to persuade you to consider forgiveness, and I'm contradicting myself and telling you that maybe you shouldn't forgive. Hear me out. We get external messages all the time that forgiveness is what we should do. Maybe you have friends or family pressuring you to forgive. They want to keep the peace and they can't manage their own discomfort around the situation, so they expect you to just hurry up and forgive so everything can return to normal. Or maybe you have a core belief that good people forgive. You want to be a good person, so you should forgive too. Or maybe subconsciously, you think that forgiveness is a shortcut to healing, that if you just forgive this person, you won't have to deal with the uncomfortable feelings that go along with acknowledging head on the pain their actions caused you. Or maybe you have certain religious convictions. There's all sorts of reasons why you might believe I should always forgive. But the reality is that forgiveness is a process that takes time and can only happen when you are truly ready. It's not a singular action that you just decide to do and poof, now it's done. You have to feel your anger, your disappointment, your frustration. You have to feel all of those emotions. Sometimes we need a little heat. We need a little anger to help us cauterize our wounds and to move forward. And at the end of the day, doing something because you feel like you should or because someone else wants you to, that's not a good reason to do anything. And what tends to happen when we rush the process of forgiveness is that our anger and resentment bubble to the surface in ways we didn't intend for it to. It comes out with passive-aggressive behavior. We end up being snarky or seeking revenge. We say that we've forgiven, but deep down inside, there's this little fire in us that we are suppressing. And when we do that, we are actually just delaying our healing and robbing ourselves of our own inner peace. Lie number 4, forgiveness is something that you give to the other person. If we go back to the original definition of forgiveness, to let go of anger, resentment, and hostility, this process of letting go has nothing to do with verbally telling the other person. In fact, people forgive all the time without ever saying it out loud. I have worked with people who have gone through the process of forgiveness after someone has passed away, and they don't have the ability or opportunity to verbally tell the person, I forgive you. There might be situations in life where you don't want to have contact with someone, but you still need to let go of negative emotions and forgive them for your own healing. There might be situations in life where you make a determination that the relationship is not even important enough to warrant a conversation. That is valid. That is okay. You get to call the shots about what feels safe and right for you. In those situations, we can still forgive without necessarily communicating that to the other person. Forgiveness is something we do for ourselves, not anyone else. It's a mental shift, a change of heart, so to speak, that develops over time because we have allowed ourselves to feel our anger and our pain. It's not something that we owe the other person or something that in all situations requires a conversation. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel. I would love to have you join the community. And let me know in the comments which of the lies I mentioned is currently holding you back from forgiveness. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.